It's life or death tomorrow in Waco, or maybe it's just win or loss. But no, it's life or death.
Happy Friday and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils Show. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by the blind mouse himself, of course, Erik Ruby. We have the freckled mamba behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. Emily, fire in the chat. Papa Ruby as well. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Rubus, we did it! We made it to Friday.
There we go. I think I say we did it. I'm slowly actually morphing into a blind mouse, or at least by looks or appearance.
Yeah. I think next year that's what you should be for Halloween. I think you should be the blind mouse, one of the blind mouse from one of the blind mice from Shrek. Yeah, that absolutely needs to be what you show up to the show as, right?
I mean, yeah, but have you ever seen a mouse costume? I can't think of anybody I've ever seen in a mouse costume before.
I mean, Mickey Mouse? No? You don't want to dress up as Mickey Mouse?
I was about to say something really stupid. Like, is Mickey
as opposed to what?
Is Mickey Mouse like really a mouse though? Like,
what?
He don't really look like a mouse.
What does he look like to you?
Like Mickey Mouse, like a separate entity. Like if I showed you Mickey Mouse without telling you
3 minutes in.
What, like if you didn't know who Mickey Mouse was and I showed you Mickey Mouse, right?
Yeah.
And I asked you, what animal was this? I don't think somebody says mouse first and foremost.
Mickey Mouse. Looks like he looks like a mouse, dog.
Not really, dude.
What does he look like to you?
He looks like a separate entity. I cannot.
Well, he's a cartoon, man. He's not a real mouse.
Believe the viewers are going up on this stream while this is happening. I can't believe it.
Welcome to the PHNX Sun Devils Show.
I know somebody's
on a Friday. Look, we got a ton to get into. Today, Rubus. We'll hold the Mickey Mouse conversations for the end of the show because we do have a hot or not at the tail end of today's show. So stick around for that. That one should be a fun one. We do have some ASU football discussion to be had a little bit later on as well, but we're going to be talking about ASU's matchup this weekend, not with a mouse, but with a bear, Erik. They are in Waco taking on the Baylor Bears. One of the few teams that Arizona State has actually had a better season than in the Big 12, specifically in conference play as well. What are your early impressions of this matchup and how Arizona State can pull off something it's yet to do while being in the Big 12, and that is 3 straight Big 12 wins?
There are 2 games left in the season that are non-negotiables. Not even just about like, the future of Bobby Hurley and the tournament and all of that. Just as a fan of basketball, Utah and Baylor. This is about as must-win gets, right? You're going to face 3 other good teams, TCU, and then obviously the upper echelon, Kansas and Iowa State, to end this season. But when you look at Baylor, it is one of the few teams you can be like, okay, Arizona State has played better than this season. Now, yeah. I think Baylor is probably better than what their overall record is. But at the end of the day, if you want to maybe hold on to a little bit of hope for the Bobby Hurley era to continue, if you're somebody who's rooting for that, if you want to hold on hope to Arizona State finding a way to make the tournament, they have to win tomorrow. It is as must win gets, but also just like, carry the momentum, man. Follow up a big upset win with a win that you're supposed to get. Like, just as a fan, that would be nice.
Yeah. Would you say going in this one, you feel like they're supposed to get this one? Or are we only saying that they're supposed to get this one because of the fact that their most recent game, they beat Texas Tech? Because I don't think going into this game, if they didn't, we would say that.
They've been a better team than Baylor this season. I mean, Baylor's not like downright terrible, so it's I don't think Arizona State with anybody in the Big 12 you're just going to go to and be like, oh, auto win, pencil it in. Like they're going to take care of business. They should be the clear favorites, but they should win this game. But that doesn't mean that I believe they're going to. Not to be like a negative Nancy over here, but like they should win this game. Who knows if they will? But when I say should, I'm probably meaning like a 55, 60, 40 split, like something like that.
Yeah.
Not like 80-20 ASU should be heavy favorites. I don't even know if they are favorites. Let me check.
Well, if you look at the ESPN's matchup predictor, which we know is all fact, ESPN does not think Arizona State really stands a chance.
No, 81.1% favoring Baylor, who by the way is 3-10 in Big 12 play. Like they're 500
not good. Not good whatsoever. Now, what I will say is when we talk about momentum, right, which is a real thing in college sports, I would say more so than probably pro sports. Like if you look at the last 4 games for Baylor versus the last 4 games for ASU obviously 3-1 in those last 4, one of the better stretches that they've ever had in the Big 12 since joining the conference. And then Baylor on the complete opposite end, right? Baylor is 0-4 in their last 4 games. So if you are picking a team that is riding a little bit of a hot wave, it is Bobby Hurley's squad, regardless of how you view the season as a whole. If you're just kind of viewing it quarter by quarter by quarter, Arizona State should be the favorite in this game, regardless of you going to Waco. I don't think Waco or like Baylor basketball doesn't really scare me in the year 2026. Now, what I will say is if you look based off of like team statistics and how each of these teams have played throughout the entire season, Baylor is one of the better offensive teams in this conference. They're really efficient from the floor. They score a good chunk of points. They are one of the better rebounding teams, specifically when it comes to crashing the glass offensively in this conference. So they are a bigger squad. But the thing that's really haunted them throughout the majority of the season and in conference play is they turn it over just as much as some of the worst teams in this conference. And of course, they're one of them, right? They will give away possessions. They'll give away the basketball, which for Arizona State, I think this is going to be interesting to see if you can replicate some of the defensive intensity in team basketball that you were able to put out there on display against Texas Tech, because ultimately, Erik, that's what got the job done against the Red Raiders in Tempe.
Yeah, you took them completely out of their element. You made an offense that looks very good, feel very disjointed at a variety of times. Now, if we unpack this 4-game stretch for Baylor a little bit more, it's not, I guess, as damning as you would imagine, right? So you lose to number 7 at the time, Iowa State on the road, 72-69, right?
Really?
So,
I mean, close game.
Three-point loss on the road. You follow that up at home against then number 22 BYU, 99-94. You lose by 5. You put up 94 points though.
They score, man. Baylor scores.
I mean, BYU almost put up 100 points in that game. Then you take on number 24 Louisville at home. That one is okay. The rails are falling off a little bit. You lost that game by 11. Okay, so that's 3 straight losses, but to 3 ranked teams. Okay. But they're progressively getting worse. A 3-point loss, a 5-point loss, and an 11-point loss. And then comes the next game against who else but Kansas State. Fresh off of firing Jerome Tang, boom. They put up 90 on Baylor. 90 on them. 90-74. Of course, that's at Manhattan. That's on the road against Kansas State. But Kansas State, again, is one of the teams that you look at Arizona State, you say, well, Kansas State's had a worse season, right?
Yeah.
Kansas State picks up that win. They're 11-15. That was only their 2nd win in Big 12 play. A big part of that is PJ Haggerty had 34 points. But again, when you go down to like individual defense and you talk about stopping somebody, Baylor's not a good team at playing defense.
No.
Right? So if ASU can turn it up defensively, Baylor doesn't have the wherewithal to stop a nosebleed, let alone to stop Masamba Diop, right? So it is a matchup that I think favors ASU despite what ESPN's matchup predictor says, but they are a team that can score a lot. We're talking about a team that has put up 90 this season. We're talking about a team that has put up like high scoring numbers even in losses. So they're dangerous. Every team in the Big 12 is dangerous, but besides Utah, this is the easiest game left for ASU.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think a big reason why Baylor is able to put up the points that they do on a night in, night out basis, regardless of who they're playing, is they've got two true scorers, right? You look at Cameron Carr, somebody that averages nearly 19 points a game. And then you've got, I could be wrong here, but I feel like Tonde Yesofau is somebody that was at one point, like Arizona State was sniffing around to get him to the program. I could be wrong, but that name just sounds familiar when it comes to Arizona State men's basketball. So maybe they were sniffing around, but I don't know like ultimately what that came down to. He's a freshman on Baylor. He also is somebody that averages nearly 19 points a game. So when you have two scorers of that caliber, it's no surprise that Baylor is able to put up the points that they do on a night in, night out basis. Again, a team that averages about 83 points a game. Arizona State doesn't have that. Let's call it what it is. Arizona State doesn't have two consistent scorers that are dropping nearly 19, 20 points a game. Now, what I will say is over the last couple of games, you have those performances from like a Mo Odom, who just kind of takes over. We've seen Masamba Diop take over games because there aren't a lot of individual players that can really guard him at all three phases, right? So I think when you look at a game like this, for me, rebounding and defense is ultimately what it's going to come down to. Two areas where Arizona State, as let's just call it what it's been, has been inconsistent, right? We know about the rebounding issues. You talk about that Colorado game, what Bobby had to say about rebounding, going back and forth with the media member kind of about that. And then they come out and they rebound well and they win the game, right? So if Arizona State is able to compete on the glass with Baylor, I don't think they're going to win the rebounding matchup tomorrow. I just don't see it, not with a team in Baylor that crashes the glass the way that they do. But if they're able to keep that relatively close and prevent Baylor from getting those second chance opportunities and allowing some of these, ultra competitive scorers to get those extra chances, I like ASU's shot at this one and winning a third straight Big 12 game. But again, I do think this one comes down to what you're able to do defensively with a rotation that, again, is relatively limited.
So, Tunde, you're right, by the way. Good poll by you. Picked Baylor. He's a 5-star freshman. Picked Baylor back in October of 2024 over Arizona State and USC. So he was a top 20 recruit in the nation. I mean, he's a blue chip prospect. That's what Baylor has. Like, Baylor's not been impressive this year, but it's not because of a lack of talent. Like, they've recruited well. They had a good transfer class. Like, it's obviously not like VJ Edgecombe, who they had last year, who was an absolute killer, but they have the talent, right? They just haven't been able to put it together. The offensive rebounding is a really big part of it because when you have such elite scorers, you see it so often, like getting them to miss is tough. I mean, Cameron Carr is shooting over 50% from the field. He's shooting 50.6% from the field, and he's averaging about 19 points per game.
Baylor has not just Cameron Carr. Baylor has 4 players that average more than 23 minutes a game that are shooting at a minimum 47% or better.
So what you can't do is give them 2 shots. Like, if they miss a shot, you have to clean up defensive rebounds, because if you give this team more than one opportunity, I don't think you have the offensive firepower to match. You just don't have it consistently. Like, even Mo Odom, right? Like, Mo Odom we've seen explode for large quantities of points, but because of his size, because a lot of it comes from streaky three-point shooting, it's not that he can't do it. It's just that it's very hard for him to do it consistently. Like, Mo Odom's go-to moves aren't like, let me get downhill and attack the paint, let me get to the free throw line, even though he's gotten to the free throw line at probably a better rate than most players on this team because of his size and his stature. Like, he doesn't have like these go-to moves that he could just get off over anybody, right? Diop is somebody who does have these moves that he can get off over anybody, but he is not comfortable to the point where he could just be your go-to scorers at all times. But when he gets into it, when he gets hot, it's very hard to stop him. What you have to do is allow yourself some wiggle room. You have to allow yourself some room to miss shots, to maybe go on a cold streak. And you can't give up offensive rebounds in that stretch. When they're shooting above 47% or above 50% from the field when it comes to certain players, guess what? Statistically speaking, if you give them 2 shots, you're not going to be doing too great. So it's imperative, and it's a very clear game plan as well. I do wonder, though, because Bobby Hurley didn't call anybody out last post game, do they respond well, right? Is it too sweet? Are we getting too happy on the farm?
I don't know, again, what you could be like overly thrilled about. Like, again, a big win, right, against Texas Tech, which we did a whole show on. But, like, it's life or death, right? Like, for your season here. If you want to make the NCAA tournament, which already is a shot in the dark, it's going to take everything you got, one final push. It starts here, right? It starts with being able to beat a team that isn't that much better than you, if better than you at all, right? You brought it up. There are a few games on the schedule that remain for Arizona State that are non-negotiables, that the Sun Devils simply have to win if they want to even remotely sniff the bubble of the NCAA tournament. This game is one of them. Then you're at TCU next Tuesday, which TCU right now penciled into the NCAA tournament. Then you've got Utah next Saturday. That's a must-win game. And then if you're able to clean up those next three, that's where things get interesting. But even to get to that point, to get to March 3rd when Kansas comes to town, to get to a point where everybody's eyebrows are kind of raised of like, hey, wait a second. They got a chance here, right? And everyone's talking about the Arizona State Sun Devils men's basketball. Bobby Hurley said he's in his prime, and they just ripped off 5 in a row. You got to take care of business here. You got to go to Waco, and you got to beat a team that shoots lights out. Now, again, they're one of the worst teams in the conference for a couple different reasons. A, they can't play defense. B, they turn it over a ton. And C, this conference is top heavy, right? Which you've seen dominate some of these teams that are slightly middle of the pack toward the bottom, Arizona State being one of them. Now, the Sun Devils, again, to get back to where we were at momentum-wise, they're a team trending in the right direction. And I think this game, not to get all like about the program and Bobby Hurley, I'm very interested to see what this looks like. I'm very interested to see what Bobby Hurley is able to do in terms of getting these guys to respond after a win. Because how often when we were talking football or we go back and talk about men's basketball year over year and you get these types of wins, about how you can't emotionally be on this roller coaster, right? You can't necessarily get to the highest high after winning and beating a top 25 team. And in the same vein, you can't get super low if you lose to a team that ultimately, you're better than. So this for me is going to be a true test of like, okay, Arizona State is technically fresh off a massive win, their biggest win in the last 2 years with Bobby Hurley. Can you get yourself back to neutral? Can you do what good teams do and enjoy that win for 24 hours, if not less, move on from it, and get ready for another game against a team in this conference, which, again, like, we could talk about how Baylor is this, that, or the other. They're a Big 12 team, right? And you just ripped off some of their losses over their last 4, have been to ranked teams, really good teams, and they've been tight games. So this is going to be certainly an interesting test to see if Bobby Hurley's squad has one final like postseason push in them. I want to get your thoughts on a score prediction. I want to get your thoughts on potentially an ASU Sun Devil to watch in this game. Again, we are going to be talking a little ASU football a little bit later on in the show, hearing from an NFL Network draft analyst. And we got hot or not at the tail end of today's show. But we are going to go ahead and see you guys on the other side of our first.
Easy choice by calling Mark and Alexis Breyer and the husband and wife law team if you've ever been in an accident or suffered a serious injury, because their team not only brings hundreds of years of combined trial experience and multiple certified specialists in personal injury and wrongful death, but Phoenix is their home where they've raised their 8 children and their focus is always client results and giving back to the community. They truly care. That's why they're happy to make you and all their clients multiple guarantees. Like, you will be guaranteed to receive at least as much in your pocket as they receive for their fee, even if they reduce their attorney's fee to do so. They guarantee you can cancel your fee agreement at any time for any reason, and they guarantee that you may speak with one of their lawyers as often as you choose about anything you'd like to discuss. You have the right to trust they'll always be upfront and honest about the strengths and weaknesses with your case, and they'll always do that for you and their client. So if you've had a serious injury, the choice is simple. Call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them that PHNX sent you.
For everybody watching or listening to today's show, I have one question for you. Do you want a chance to win a brand new Corvette? If the answer is yes, or if it's maybe, well, our friends over at Gila River Resorts, they have just the thing for you. The fabulous Corvette giveaway running January 16th through April 24th. So still plenty of time to enter to win a brand new Corvette. 4 casinos, 4 Corvettes, which means 4 chances to win big. Of course, those participating locations are Wild Horse Pass, Vicuiva, Lone Butte, and Santan Mountain. You guys can qualify a couple of different ways on a couple different days. On Fridays, 6 p.m. through 8 p.m., hourly drawings for a free bonus play or a finale entry. And then Tuesdays and Saturdays, you guys can earn 4 times the entries when you play with the card. And then Thursdays, 2 p.m. through 5 p.m., you've got the hot seat finale qualifier, play with the card for your shot. And there are exclusive swag giveaways throughout the entire promotion. And again, this giveaway does run through the end of April. So still plenty of time to take advantage. Don't miss your chance to accelerate into luxury. Play, earn, and win at any of their 4 casino locations. You know what that sound is?
You're
a smart ass. No, it's the merch alarm. The sale alarm is going off. And we've got a 30% off site-wide sale on, guess what? All of our merch in the locker. Shirts, hats, the brand new Arizona Over Everything collection. The sale ends this Sunday. Again, 30% off. Earthang is 30% off, Rubus.
If I can get in my Suns bag here really quick. We have a PHNX Suns hat, like a PHNX Suns hat. That's really, really cool. I know you've complimented it when I've been on the show with it.
It's so cool that I wish we had an ASU version of it.
We got to sell.
Who do I got to talk to?
If people want more merch, we got to sell the merch that we have. The same thing with the villain shirt, brand new Suns villain shirt
rips
out
too.
There. Really rips. All of that's 30% off. We don't do this often. We do a lot of diehard sales, not all the time, but we do a lot of them. We don't do merch sales that often. So highly recommend maybe stock up on some birthday gifts for some people.
Yeah, birthday, Christmas gifts.
Yeah. It's never too
all
early
of the things. 4th of July gifts, all the things.
All of the ASU merch is on sale too. We have some very good ASU merch. Even if it's been around for a little bit, doesn't mean that it's still not fire. So
can you still get the Daniel Ngata t-shirt? Is that still available in the locker?
Okay, I got it. Okay, all right. I'll go check it right now.
Last time I checked, that shirt was like $4.
Yeah,
you can get like a PHNX exclusive $4 shirt. I don't know if we have any more, man.
Shop by. I mean, they were definitely around.
They were around. They're vintage, man. They're vintage shirts. You're gonna see that next to the Mona Lisa one day.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm for some reason having a hard time navigating this. Keep talking, and I'll update you.
Oh my goodness! Look, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Lions Den 1984 in the chat. What happened to the top big man that Hurley got last season? Are we talking about Quaintance? Talking about JQ? JQ, he's still coming back from injury, right? He's played a little bit, but he hasn't been like earth-shattering, like good.
Yeah, he hasn't been who they've expected him to be, but he's gone through a lot, and he's very young. So I'm not out on Quaintance yet. I like Quaintance a lot.
I think we all do. I think we all wish Quaintance was here.
Yeah. I cannot find the Daniel Ngata.
That means it's probably sold out. Means we're probably not making it. I'll tell you what, we're actually definitely not making any more of them.
No, I would say those stopped being in production a while ago.
Yeah.
A couple of things here from the chat. One question from my dad asks, is there any chance Hurley's actually retained? And I think that starts with tomorrow. I mean, the odds are less than 1%. But yes. He'd have to win out, make noise, if not win the Big 12 tournament, and then win multiple games in March Madness. So, yeah, there's a chance.
I think if he makes a tournament, you still got to win 2 games. Like, that's the minimum, what you have to do if you are Bobby Hurley to get an extra contract. I don't think you need to win the Big 12 tournament. It's simply like, again, noise. I am not going to move the bar here because they were ass and then have started to play hard and win games down the stretch. That's not how you evaluate who should get a contract extension and who shouldn't, right? Again, maybe you can have this conversation in years 3, 4, 5. You're not having that same conversation year 11, potentially going into 12. The standard in the bar at the start of the season was you have to not only make the NCAA tournament, You have to make a run in the NCAA tournament. You can't just get there and then lose in the round of 64 or the first four, right? You can't do that again because we've been there, the fans have been there, and that is not, again, any different than what you've ever done. You need to win at least 2 games in this tournament to get a contract extension, in my mind. I don't care if they go down the stretch and win like those 7 games in a row if they don't make the tournament. If they don't make the tournament, or even if they do, if they win all those games and get bounced in the first 4 or the first round of the tournament, I don't care. I don't care that you did exactly what you do every year. And now that may sound harsh. That may be just a me thing. But again, we have been banging on the table saying the standards for the program need to be different. And I'm not just going to rewrite what the expectation was for us based off of the fact that they won 7 games in a row down the stretch. I'm just not going to do it. And again, I know some people may think different because you look at the wins that they would have to get. They'd have to beat Kansas. They'd have to probably beat Iowa State. And they'd have to get to the tournament and probably win a tournament like a Big 12 tournament game, right? Ultimately at the end of the day. But I'm not going to sit here and just say you do all that and get to the tournament and then lose, that means anything different to me.
Here is my problem with things. And I've talked with a lot of ASU fans about this off air. I know I've shared this sentiment on air. It is a problem that me as a fan can leave a win like they had against Texas Tech and not look forward to the next game. Because, and Will said it in chat, they play up to their competition and they play down to their competition. Yeah. I've seen this story over the last 11 years. How many times, Totri, are we talking about a win like Texas Tech and we're talking about it as it's like this is the starting point of when they went on some miraculous run, right? When they did a miraculous run, obviously the year where they were almost the number 1 ranked team in the country, then they lost a game to Arizona, and then after that it was complete fumble and tumble, right?
Yeah.
How many times are we talking about, man, they pulled off this big upset win, and then they didn't fall off a cliff after that?
Not often.
And here's the thing, man, is like they might win. They might win on Saturday. But as a fan, and I can just tell you truthfully on how I feel, not what I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for them to go on a run. I'm rooting for them to win. I want this program to be good. I actually, despite what people might think, I want Bobby Hurley to succeed as the men's basketball coach at Arizona State University. That's what I want. And that's why I'm frustrated.
I think that's what we all want.
Yeah. As a fan, I am not able to fully look forward to the next game after a game like Texas Tech. And I know I'm not alone in that. This is not me projecting my feelings on other people. These are other people who have talked to me about it. You cannot get behind any of these teams despite different players, despite different situations, different conferences, different points in the season. It was the same thing in non-con, dude. Like, how many times is Bobby Hurley going to have a great non-con and then fumble in conference play? You and I talked about it when they were in non-con. This is great, but what are they going to do in conference, right? Yeah. That hasn't just been the story in the Big 12. That's the problem here. That's why something has to change. And if he does enough to keep his job, it will be the first time in his 11-year history here that he bucked that trend. And that's why
that would be worth having a conversation about.
And who knows if even he would want to stay at that point.
Yeah.
Honestly, like this is a two-way street, you know, and by all means, we know that Bobby loves it here. He wants to make things work here. And I'm sure he is absolutely frustrated that it hasn't. But at that point, if you go on this miraculous run and Arizona State offers you a 1-year or maybe a 2-year contract extension, do you take that or do you ride the momentum of what you did here at the very end and go get another job with a 5-year deal so that you don't have to worry about that, right? It's a really tough situation that Arizona State is at fault in because they are now finding themselves in a situation where they're with the sitting duck coach. The program is where it is, not just because of Bobby Hurley, but because of Arizona State. But it's also Bobby Hurley, right? Like there's patterns with coaches, and the patterns have been you beat a Texas Tech team, you go into a big game a couple days later against Baylor, against a team that's way worse than Texas Tech, and you lose. That's been the story with Arizona State men's basketball. And I hope that the story changes this time. I can't tell you I have confidence that it will, though. And that sucks. Like, that sucks as a fan to feel that way.
That's fair. And again, like, we've seen Bobby Hurley teams beat really good teams over the years. We have, yes. Right? So, like, when we sit here and say, like, you go back to the win against Texas Tech, right? Where we do the show after, it's like Bob's good for one of these a year, right? And normally he is. Normally Arizona State is able to pull off one of those miraculous wins at least once a season. But like, what has followed those miraculous wins over the years, right? You go into the 2021-2022 season. ASU beats number 3 UCLA in triple overtime, a phenomenal game, only to drop a game to Arizona the very next game, right? So you have all this momentum, you're riding a hot high, and then ultimately you fall flat on your face, right? You go back to the 2020, let's see, I believe it's the 2022 season. Let's see. Yeah, the 2022-2023 season, you have the Des Cambridge, just absolutely ridiculous half-court shot to beat Arizona, right? Number 7 Arizona. What do you do the next game? Ironically enough, you lose to a ranked UCLA team. You get bounced. You lose by 18 in that game. So this is not like a new thing. You can go back even as far or even as recent as 2023, 2024. You beat a ranked Washington State team, number 21 in the country. Your next game, you lose to Arizona, right? So like, you have all these big wins every year, but they don't snowball, right? They don't snowball into, okay, the team's turning a corner, right? Will puts it perfectly in the chat. Hitting a low ceiling is not enough to say you're a tall person, right? I could speak firsthand, right? So, like, you can get these wins, but if you don't turn it into something, if it's just a one and done, it doesn't mean anything, right? It's cool. It's impressive in the moment. It's great for the program. Good teams, they get on win streaks. They don't talk about what they did one game on a random Tuesday night, right? It's how they beat Texas Tech and then beat BYU and then beat Baylor and TCU. Why? Because they were supposed to. Right? Then came back home and beat a Colorado and Utah. Why? Because they're a good team. And then you look at it as a full body of work. Hey, look at that 6-game stretch they had, right? Where they beat X, Y, and Z. They beat 2 teams on the road that they should have beat, but hey, they're a good team. They took care of business. You throw in a ranked win every now and again in that streak, and then it's like, wow, okay, it's a body of work, right? Not just a body part, right? And that is what it is right now, is you're on a 2-game win streak, which I will clap it up for Bobby Hurley and Arizona State because they have not done that since joining the conference. They haven't won 2 back-to-back Big 12 games. Congratulations. You know it's better than beating 2 Big 12 teams in a row? Beating 3, beating 4, beating 5 Big 12 teams in a row. That's what it's going to take ultimately for Arizona State to buck that trend that we've seen over the last 11 years that you alluded to, Erik. The question is, does Arizona State get it done? Are we talking tomorrow evening about, man, hey, look out now, Arizona State, 3-game stretch where they beat X, Y, and Z. Do they realistically beat Baylor tomorrow in your mind?
I really want to say yes. I don't think people understand how much I hate that I'm not going to do that, because you and I talked about it off air when we were celebrating the Texas Tech win, and we were talking about it during the show, that I wasn't going to be that guy on that show. They deserve to celebrate that win. It was a big win for the program. I'm sure it felt very good for Bobby Hurley and the program. I cannot sit here and honestly tell you that I think they're going to win tomorrow. And that sucks. And I hope I'm wrong. And I definitely could be wrong, but I don't think I will be.
I'm going to go ahead and be opposite of you. I have never in the last 3-4 years had faith in this program. I'm just going to be honest with you. Does it mean I want them to fail? No, I do not want them to fail. I love when they win. It's great for everybody here if they win. Erik and I love it more than most, probably, if ASU men's basketball wins. They've won 2 games. I'm going to say they get something done that they've never done in the Big 12, and that is win 3 straight games in conference play. It would be wildly impressive. I think they start to buck that trend at the very least with this win against Baylor on Saturday. We'll see what that means against TCU. I think they get it done, and I think it is off the back of Mo Odom. I think Mo Odom, again, who has been somebody over the last 4 games, 23 points, 13 points, 23 points, 13 points, been on a trend of 13 and 23 for the last 4. I think he has another great game. Ultimately, I do. I think this is a bad Baylor team that doesn't play defense, and they turn it over a lot. I think this team is going to find a way to get it done, and they're going to do it because of a guy in Mo Odom who's been a leader on this team, a leader at the point guard position that ASU fans have needed and wanted over the last several years. Somebody that truly is a vocal guy, that you can see it when you're watching him. You see it in the way that he speaks post-game, that this guy just wants to win. And this is a winnable game. So I'm going to go ahead and lean on the sunny side here for Z-Man and say that they find a way to get it done. If ASU is able to win this game, Erik, who is the X factor here?
Give me Alan Mukeba.
Yeah.
You gotta be physical. You gotta be physical. Not let them get offensive boards. You gotta take them out of their element. This is a non-defensively oriented, offensive firepower team. How do you beat those types of teams? You muck things up. Alan Mukeba, more like Alan Muckeba, because he's got to muck things up, man. He's got to get in there. And honestly, offensively, Noah Musin has been a very, very solid piece for Arizona State, passing the ball and shooting the ball. They're going to need kind of offense by committee, I think. Not one. You can't just have one guy lead the way offensively against Baylor. They're going to score at least 75 points. At least 75. You're going to need more than one guy to score, because you don't have somebody that can go for 40, right? Like a bunch of freshmen around the country. You're going to need a lot of guys in double figures, especially because you got a short rotation. So,
yeah,
give me Alan Mukeba, X factor, defensively, mucking things up. But other than that, Noah Musin on the offensive end. He's got to hit some threes, get some assists.
I like it. Let us know in the chat who you think needs to be the X factor for Arizona State to get a 3rd straight win, this time obviously against the Baylor Bears. We're going to be talking ASU football, hearing from an NFL Network draft analyst, Daniel Jeremiah, on ASU's top draft eligible players on the other side of our final break.
They've been serving Arizona since 2002, and while they started out with just windows, now they're way more than just a window store. I'm talking windows, doors, skylights, cabinets, countertops, sinks, and more, all in stock and ready for pickup. They have the best price because they have the biggest inventory. Plus, they're Arizona made and locally trusted with 7 locations across Arizona, and windows proudly manufactured here locally. Contractors and homeowners love the Window Depot, whether you're tackling a multi-family build, or maybe you're just remodeling the kitchen, or maybe you're building a shed out back. You can shop online and pick up in store. And if you need a custom order, well, guess what? They will definitely help you out with that. Plus, they have in-house custom designers to help you for free customize your space. So visit thewindow.depot.com, get started on your next project today, or stop by one of the Window Depot's 7 Arizona locations and see for yourself why they're way more than just a window store.
Ladies and gentlemen, we made it to Friday, so it is time to have ourselves one hell of a weekend, and you already know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be indulging with our friends over at Pure Edibles. Personally, I like weed. I like edibles, but I don't like the edibles that leave a weird, weedy aftertaste in my mouth. And that's not the case with our friends over at Pure, because they are a full-fledged candy company offering gummies. They've got Kicks, which are their version of Starburst, Chews, soft candies like caramel, and then hard candies as well. Pure effects are clearly listed on each tin, so you know exactly what effects you guys can expect. If you're like me and you want to have yourself one hell of a Friday and Saturday, well, you can try the uplifting gummies, or maybe you're somebody that just has trouble sleeping and you need a good night's rest. Well, check out Pure's sleep support gummies as well. They taste just as good. Make sure you go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button again, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Well, in the chat, Odom can score, but if ASU wins, it comes down to Musin stepping up. We will see. We will see what Bobby Hurley and company are capable of doing on the road against Baylor. But I want to kick it to ASU football, but quick audible, because I totally forgot to mention this off the top, Erik. The Arizona Board of Regents they have approved the contract extension for Willie Bloomquist and the amended contract for Kenny Dillingham. So those contracts are officially done. Kenny's contract is amended, and Willie is here for several more seasons. It finally got done, Rubus.
They saw ASU baseball cooking. They said, "Yeah, we get it. Let's approve it." Let's
move this thing up the docket.
Never a doubt, though. Never a doubt. Those things don't really get agreed to on this level without them almost being guarantees to go through. So
Brent Brennan's contract extension got amended as well, or got approved. So he's here now till 2030, I think.
Thank God. The golf claps.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I also love the NFL draft, and I'm pumped to see where those Sun Devils end up in April. Of course, we are still several months away. You've got the NFL Combine next week, and there are some NFL draft analysts who are all over it all year long. NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah is one of them. Jordan Ham of Sports 360 AZ actually asked Daniel Jeremiah about ASU's top draft eligible players, Jordyn Tyson, Keith Abney, Keyshaun, Elliott, and of course, Max Iheanachor, and what he thinks about them going through this draft process and them individually as players potentially finding a home in the NFL. So this is that conversation again between Jordan Ham of AZ Sports 360 and then, of course, Daniel Jeremiah.
With Tyson, I mean, I think just getting comfortable from a medical standpoint and showing that he's healthy and that's really been kind of the one criticism on him is just the injuries that he's battled, throughout his college career. But the tape is outstanding. I would imagine if he goes through a whole testing process, he's going to test excellent because he's super dynamic and explosive. There's plays where he just like floats in the air when I watched him. So he's, I would imagine he's going to jump out of the gym, real electric with his change of direction. He's a creative playmaker. So to me, it's just really the medical stuff with him. Iheanachor, he should be on easy street because he played really, really well at the Senior Bowl. He knocked out, I'm sure he's interviewed with all 32 teams when he was down there. So he should have a little bit of a lighter load in terms of visiting with teams at the Combine. So he can just kind of focus on going out there, having a good workout and testing well, which I imagine he will. He's just a real athletic, powerful guy. His stock is definitely on the rise for somebody who played 1 year of football in junior college to be where he is right now. It's a great story, having moved over here as a 13-year-old from Nigeria, and just the climb is there. He's getting better and better. Every time I watched him in the fall to when I saw him at the Senior Bowl, from the beginning of the week to the end of the week, this guy just keeps getting better and better. So he just continues to ride that wave. And then with Abney, I'm curious to see how big he is. I just have estimates at 6 foot, $190. I think he's probably a little smaller than that, but the inside-outside ability, I think he's one of the better nickels in the draft. He's got short area quickness. He's got excellent eyes. Seeing how he jumps will be interesting. There's times he got a little bit outsized down the field, but he's a really, really good player. I don't know that he has anything really, really to prove there. And then Elliott, you asked about, as an inside linebacker, does a really good job as a rusher. He got 7 sacks. He beats running backs. He can cover backs in the flat. I'm just curious to see like the overall, the twitch explosiveness that'll show up in, broad vertical testing stuff, just to see what type of an athlete he is there. But someone who's got, really, really good at going after quarterbacks as a linebacker.
You heard it. Sounds like there are going to be several Sun Devils that hear their name pretty early on in this 2026 NFL draft. Let's go ahead and start with what he had to say about Jordyn Tyson. This is something that you and I had kind of talked about a little bit pre-show here. Is the only knock on Jordyn Tyson from anybody is health, right? Can this guy stay healthy? He's had some injuries over the years. Tells me that in terms of the actual player, when he is on the field and available, people see a superstar.
It's a valid concern. I will say that. It has definitely been something that has plagued him. That being said, it is literally the only knock that I have heard at all about Jordyn Tyson. And I think what's great about NFL draft season, and sometimes hilarious, is like these ebbs and flows, this roller coaster of like, this guy sucks. Actually, he's awesome. Actually, he sucks. Actually, he's awesome. And it feels like we're kind of coming around the curve of like, oh yeah, Jordyn
He's
Tyson.
really good.
He's really good because all you have to do is watch him play football, right? Sometimes you can overthink things. Sometimes you don't have to. Watch Jordyn Tyson play football and you'll see the best receiver in the draft. You will see a receiver that has, quite frankly, zero weaknesses. He's incredibly strong. He loves doing all the dirty work. He's going to block you into oblivion, and then he's going to burn you and catch a high point ball over 2 defenders. He'll juke you out of your shoes. He'll make a play. He can thrive in short yardage situations and red zone situations. He can thrive on off schedule, deep route plays. Like, he's the type of guy that can literally do anything. He does not have a singular strength, and I say that as a positive because it's all strengths. He's a plus route runner. He has plus hands. He has plus athleticism. He has plus instincts. Like, he can do everything. The only question is, will he be on the field to do it? And I think when you look at a couple of these injuries, right, hamstring's always tricky. That one's tough. But the year before, okay, a broken collarbone in a game that you probably should have been out of anyway, right? That's not like, oh, you're not strong. Collarbones are freak accidents, right? Look about how he's come back from all these injuries. The leg injury in Colorado, think about how he came back and thrived at Arizona State, became one of the best receivers in the country, right? Broken collarbone at the end of the 2024 season. You come out the 2025 season, you are literally the best wide receiver in the conference and one of the best, if not the best in the country. And then the hamstring injury. That sucks. But I think that if this was a team that was competing in the college football playoffs, he would have played because of that time frame, right? So I think he's perfectly fully healthy right now for all the testing, the combine, the meetings and everything. And it's going to be a long time until he plays football again. That hamstring will not be a problem anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to take Somebody's taking this kid in the top 10, man. Somebody's taking this kid in the top 10.
Again, I think they should. I think he's easily the best wide receiver in this draft. He's an elite prospect, somebody that I think is going to be a superstar at this next level with the work that he puts in. And again, like, the only major injury was that knee injury at Colorado. And like you said, look at the way that he responded. Came out and had some phenomenal seasons at Arizona State. He's going to go down as one of the most talented wide receivers in Arizona State history, potentially the most. He would have shattered single season records at ASU if he were healthy the entire season. And I think, again, it's a valid question as to the availability, right? We'll see. Ultimately, we'll see. I'm excited to see what he does at the combine. And I think that, again, is going to be a reminder for some folks just how talented Jordyn Tyson is as a player and as a wide receiver. But you heard it from Daniel Jeremiah, not the only Sun Devil getting some love. Of course, Max Iheanachor, who we heard and saw a lot of good things about at the Senior Bowl. Interesting for Daniel Jeremiah to say that this is somebody that probably has already talked to all 32 teams, of course, being at the Senior Bowl in Alabama. I mean, with the days passing, man, all these mock drafts, I feel like Max Iheanachor has solidified himself as a top 50 pick, which is kind of crazy that we've gotten to this point in time. I genuinely believe he is going to be somebody that is selected pretty early on in the second round, if not somebody that sneaks into the first round. Like, as long as he keeps up what he did at the Senior Bowl, like, there are going to be teams that are like, yeah, he's one of the top tackles available just based off measurables.
I think the most interesting thing that Daniel Jeremiah said was that he's somebody that continues to get better.
Yeah.
And I think that is why somebody will take a swing on him, because he's already good. He already has the measurables. Like, you and I are a little surprised by maybe how high his ceiling seems to be in this draft, but I don't think any of us thought that he was bad. No, we all thought that he was a plus offensive lineman. But we're just talking about one of the best offensive linemen in the draft if he goes where we think he's going to go and where he seems to be projected.
Yeah.
I used to think if the Sun Devils were to have 2 first-round picks, it would be Jordyn and it would be Keith. I now think if the Sun Devils have 2 first-round picks, it's Jordyn and it's Max.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's
good for him, man.
Fair.
I'm so happy for him. Good for him.
I think the most interesting thing that DJ said the entire time, though, was referencing Keith Abney as a nickel.
Yep.
Because he's somebody that played on the perimeter his entire career at Arizona State, was very, very good on the perimeter at Arizona State. We have heard the knocks on his size, that he's a little bit of a smaller corner, which, yeah, But I'm interested to hear him say, yeah, he projects as a nickel, which I guess based off of size, that's probably where you'd want him. Somebody that if you do watch him, he was a lockdown corner. I would be interested to see how that adjustment goes for Keith, and whoever does draft him, first, second, third round, do they plug and play him at a nickel spot? Or do they believe that he could be a true outside guy?
I do think the size is tough. If the listing of 6 foot, I don't believe is accurate, unfortunately. What I find impressive, though, is that Daniel Jeremiah goes, he's one of the best nickels in the draft. Doesn't even play that position. Right. And I'm not saying that as like a disparaging comment to Daniel Jeremiah's preparedness. I'm just saying the fact that they're projecting Keith Abney to be one of the best at a position that he has not even really played is a testament to just how good and versatile of a player he is. Right. I think for most people that size, they're not going to get the type of love that Keith is going to get. At the end of the day, like he might just be able to do it. Right. But
he'll be able to do it.
Yeah, just like be like your outside guy. In the draft, there are always reasons why players fall. Size is always a big part of that, especially for people who play that position. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked if he slides a bit, but I have no worry about him becoming an impactful NFL player, no matter what position he plays.
Keyshaun Elliott, the last guy that DJ mentioned there, talking about his explosiveness, want to see it at the combine, see what he's capable of doing there. I think Keyshaun Elliott is, again, somebody that is an interesting player to kind of project in this linebacker class. It was part of the conversation that I had with ALLCITY NFL draft analyst Fran Duffy. The last time that we had spoke was kind of this linebacker class is a little weird based off of some of the players, right? I saw something as recent as yesterday that didn't even have Jacob Rodriguez as a top 5 linebacker in this NFL draft class of linebackers. Now, part of that was maybe Jacob Rodriguez's size, maybe Jacob Rodriguez's age a little bit factors in there. Maybe, they didn't like his mustache or whatever that was. But I think at the end of the day, this is going to be a linebacker class where there are probably going to be some guys that go earlier just based off of teams liking them, right? When you have a situation like this where maybe each and every one of these guys outside of the top 2 have like quote unquote flaws or questions, it is ultimately going to be like a buyer's choice of like, you know what? I'm willing to sacrifice X, Y, and Z because this guy has this. Keyshaun Elliott is a fascinating player to me when it comes to trying to pinpoint where exactly he's going to go in the draft. I think we're in agreement, though, regardless of where he goes, somebody is getting one hell of a player.
You know me, man. I'm ringing the bell for Keyshaun Elliott for the last 2 seasons. I think he's been the most underrated singular player over the last 2 years at Arizona State. He has just been that good. He doesn't get talked about like a CJ Fight, like a Keith Abney, like an Xavier Alford, obviously, when he was healthy. Shamari Simmons in 24 about like, oh, the heart and soul of the defense or what makes it click. Like, Keyshaun covered up so much when this team needed him to. Yeah. And he's so versatile as well. Like Daniel Jeremiah said, like he can do a little bit of everything, including like, I believe he led the team in sacks this year. And so
7 sacks. Yeah.
He is not only a very solid football player, the tape doesn't lie with that, but he's a very smart football player as well. And he's a very smart guy. And that's what teams fall in love with. I don't know where he'll go in the draft, but I am a Keyshaun Elliott believer, and I have been for quite some time.
Before we hit hot or not, Will had a question. Over under 4.5 Sun Devils getting drafted in the first 3 rounds. Over or under?
So Jordyn Tyson's a lock. Max Iheanachor is a lock.
And Keith Abney's a lock to go in the first 3 rounds.
Keith Abney's a lock. Okay. So you need 2 more players in the first 3 rounds. So even if Keyshaun is there, you still need one other guy. I say under.
I am going to also say under on that.
It's a high line, though. That's a high line.
It is a very high line. 3.5 would have been a more interesting line, I think. Jordan Crook is going to be an interesting one to see if anybody, turns in the card with his name. Miles Rouser, Xavier Alford, Clayton Smith, Prince Dorba. Like, there are a number of guys. It's just guys, again, that there hasn't been a lot of national discussion about, which doesn't mean, like, that they're not getting love. But also, you have to be mindful that none of these guys were also invited to the combine. So that kind of pinpoints how they're viewed. Ultimately, we'll see what they do at Pro Day. We'll see how they interview. I think you'll get at the very least 4-5 Sun Devils drafted. It's just a matter of who ends up falling in love with some of these guys probably on day 3, right?
Yeah. If X was healthy, I think he would have been a top 3 round pick.
I agree. And I think someone's going to get a steal of a player in Iheanachor. I really do. Look, that is going to do it for all the actual content and discussion that we have. It is Friday, so I want to have a little bit of fun with a little hot or not. This is like the second hot or not that we've done in like over a year. Wow. So super amped and elated. If you're new here, listening on audio or watching live or watching after the fact, we appreciate you being here. This is where things get off the rails.
Kick my feet up.
Where we have a pretty much a producer surprise, right? Where we've got the Freckle Mama behind the Mac, who's got 3 random topics that he's going to throw our way, and we're going to discuss, debate, argue, maybe agree on what is hot and what is not. Sound good with you, Rubus?
Oh, I'm ready, man. I think this is my first hot or not in so long. I don't know if
what's on the menu, Freckled Mamba.
I'm going to start this one off with a free ad, unfortunately, and it is morph suits. Do you need more explanation?
What?
Morph suits?
What's a morph suit?
Those body suits that you would zip up from the back and they would cover your entire body. Your fingers would slide into them. Your feet would slide into them.
Like the green suits.
Them, and it would make you just a colorful silhouette of a person.
Morph suit.
Very popular for Halloween when I was in school.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a hot. I mean, probably literally hot.
Can I ask why you say it's hot?
Because
we're just saying like in general, like in life.
Well, no, because that's the thing is that doesn't like you don't see those just in life. Like they only pop up in situations.
Where do you see them?
I feel like the 942 crew will pop out some morph suits, or like Ayrton said, like Halloween. Somebody just wearing it casually, like if you pulled up to the office in a morph suit, that's not hot. But nobody does
more hot than not wearing one. Like I don't know. I'd rather you wear it in a funny way versus like I'm gonna wear this on Halloween, right? I'd rather you just show up a random day in a morph suit, like on a random Wednesday. I think that would be way hotter.
That would be funny. Yeah.
Can I tell you guys an underrated function of morph suits?
Please do.
So in television or TV production, when using green screens, people will put full green bodysuits on and will just hold something, act like it's floating. It's basically a way to help the CGI out.
I am going to go, that's a fun fact, by the way. I'm going to go not hot. I don't see a true, like, purpose. I would never wear one or use one. So for that reason, I feel like I'm on Shark Tank here. For that, I'm going to be out. I'm going to say not hot.
If ASU men's basketball wins the Big 12 tourney, will you crawl to DFA in a morph suit?
I already have to crawl and apologize. You want me to apologize in a morph suit?
I think that'd be way funnier.
Sure, man. Just throw the morph suit in there.
Let's go. I love this.
Next up on the docket is the sport or activity of frisbee golf, otherwise known as frolf.
Hot or not? Frisbee golf. I love a good frisbee. I've never played frisbee golf. I like real golf. Not good at that either, though. I think it's hot. I like the idea of combining two things like that and making it a sport.
I think I'd have a good time playing it.
I think you would too.
I've never played frisbee golf. I have played ultimate frisbee before, as somebody of my paleness usually has. And ultimate frisbee is pretty fun, man. Like, it's pretty fun. So, I mean, it's been a while since I've played ultimate frisbee, to be honest with you, but I'll say hot. I mean, why not, right? I don't see a downside to it. Like, if you told me, hey, let's go play frisbee golf, I'd say yes.
Hell yeah. Ayrton, hot or not?
I used to be a pretty avid frisbee golfer.
I could see it.
There was a course right by my house when I grew up in Illinois, and it was very fun. I will say, very frustrating. Golf is frustrating. Frisbee golf is infinitely more frustrating.
Wow. Okay.
Infinitely more frustrating.
Infinitely more.
But
I don't know, man. Golf is pretty.
Seems like a skill issue.
Golf is pretty frustrating.
When you go to any sort of convenience store, this was very popular. Like I said, when I was growing up in Illinois, they would have what do you call it? Like a display full of Frisbee golfs that you could buy. And they were tie-dye, they were solid colors. Some of them had team logos on them. There's also a little fun aspect like that.
Interesting. I've never actually been to like a Frisbee golf course. Are they separate courses? Like Frisbee golf courses? Do you just go to a park and put like...
Most of the time, they're just integrated
buckets?
into like parks.
Yeah. Interesting. What do you got? Bring us home here, Freckle Mamba.
Bringing us home with a little bit of throwback to what we were doing pre-show today. Music in 2009, hot or not?
I mean, it's just smoking hot. It is literally on fire.
Is this the easiest question ever?
It is literally burning hot. The sun, the surface of the sun is not nearly as hot as the music that was in 2009.
Is music not hot in any year?
There are some years where it's definitely down.
Not trying
to
disparage.
There are definitely some years where music was down, man. We were talking about it today. They don't make music today like they did in 2009. They just don't.
I mean, yeah, they make good music though.
Yeah, but not like that. There's lukewarm music and there is hot music, Erik. Meet me halfway, hot.
Can you meet me halfway?
That's going to do it for today's episode of the PHNX Sun Devils Show. Will says recession era music is the hottest. Great way to end today's show. Look, if you want to keep up with all things Arizona State, follow the show on social, on X, on Instagram, and on TikTok at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow the Blind Mouse at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. You can follow the Freckle Mamba at the Freckle Mamba on social, and we will see you guys on Monday. In the meantime, go Devils and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.